The most dangerous person in any room is usually the one nobody is paying attention to. And more often than not, that person is also the oldest one there. Have you ever noticed something about almost every crime movie ever made? When the case becomes impossible. When the whole task force is stuck. When the evidence makes no sense and the trail has gone completely cold, they don't go looking for the youngest officer. They don't call the fastest thinker or the one with the newest degree or the sharpest suit. They go find the retired detective. The one nobody has thought about in years. The one sitting at home, maybe a little rough around the edges, who looks like the last person who should be anywhere near an active case. And then that person walks in, looks at the evidence for 10 minutes, and spots the one thing that an entire room full of trained professionals completely missed. Now before somebody corrects me in the comments, I know. I am not talking about one specific movie. I am talking about a pattern. And the reason that pattern keeps showing up on screen, over and over, across decades of storytelling, tells us something very important about real life. Welcome back to Diary After 50. I'm Gloria. And today we are going to talk about something the modern world has been getting completely wrong. If you are new here, stay. This one is going to shift something. And if you have been here before, you already know we don't do small talk on this channel. We get straight to it. Stay with me until the very end. By the end of this video, you're going to understand why some people become more powerful with age while others simply become older. Let's start here. Age is not weakness. Age is accumulated weaponry. Every scar. Every loss. Every betrayal. Every time the floor dropped out and you somehow still stood up. Every decision you got wrong and then corrected. Every person who wrote you off and watched you outlast them. Every version of yourself that didn't survive, so this version could. That is not a backstory. That is an arsenal. Young people walk into rooms carrying potential. Older people walk in carrying proof. And proof is a completely different thing. Potential can disappoint. Potential has never been tested under real pressure. Proof has already survived everything that was supposed to destroy it. And here's the part people miss: the proof is invisible. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't put a number on itself or wear a sign. It just sits there, quiet and certain, while everyone else in the room is still figuring out who they are. That invisibility is not a disadvantage. It is cover. But wait, because this goes deeper than resilience. And the next part is where it gets genuinely interesting. Think about those retired detectives again. The reason they always seem unnaturally calm is not because they stopped caring. It is because they have seen enough false alarms to recognize one the moment it walks through the door. They have learned something that no training manual can teach and no degree can hand you: not every fire needs water. Some fires burn themselves out if you just refuse to panic. ***. This is what I call the patience weapon. And younger people have almost no access to it, not because they are not smart, but because you can only develop it through time. Through watching things that looked catastrophic turn into nothing. Through watching things that looked like nothing quietly become everything. Through learning the difference between a situation that needs your immediate energy and one that needs you to step back and let it resolve itself. Young energy is fast, reactive, and it takes everything personally. That is not a flaw, it is just where they are. I was there too. But older energy has learned to wait. To watch. To let other people exhaust themselves reacting while you sit completely still and decide. I remember being at a family dinner once. Long table, lot of noise, everyone performing for each other the way people do. My aunt, 71 at the time, was at the far end, barely speaking, nursing a glass of wine like the whole evening was just pleasant background noise. And then someone at that table said something that cracked the entire room open. Tension, raised voices, the whole thing. My aunt put her glass down. Said 4 words. 4. The table went completely quiet. Not because she was the loudest. Because she was the only one who hadn't spent the last hour wasting her words. When someone who never speaks carelessly finally speaks, every single person in the room feels the weight of it. That is not personality. That is mastery. And mastery only comes one way. Now here is where we go somewhere most motivational content never goes. There is a kind of confidence that only exists on the other side of real humiliation. Not arrogance. Arrogance is fear in a good outfit. I mean the quiet, unmovable kind of confidence that only comes from having been publicly wrong and surviving it anyway. From having failed in front of people who were waiting for you to fail. From having lost things you were absolutely certain you could not live without, and then discovering that you could. Here is something I have never said on this channel before. In my early 50s, I made a decision that every single person close to me thought was a mistake. Not a small mistake. The kind people talk about at dinner after you leave. I believed in it completely. And for about 18 months, the evidence suggested everyone else was right and I was wrong. And then it turned. Slowly, and then all at once. But what I gained from those 18 months was not the outcome. It was something I could never have gotten any other way, the knowledge, at a bone level, not a thought level, that I could survive being wrong in public. That I could survive being doubted by everyone I respected. That the opinion of a room full of people had absolutely nothing to do with my actual direction. You can hear that truth 1,000 times. You cannot own it until you have lived it. And the person in the room who owns it cannot be rattled by someone who hasn't. Before we go further, if this is landing for you, I need you to do something right now. Not because I am asking nicely. Because you and I both know that content that actually tells the truth does not just find you by accident. Hit the like button. Drop something in the comments, even if it is just the word "seen," and if you are not subscribed yet, fix that right now. Gloria has a lot more to say. And you do not want to come back looking for this channel and not find it. Now, let me tell you what the retired detective actually has that no one in that room can replicate. It is not intelligence. It is pattern recognition. The reason those stories keep getting written, the reason we keep putting the old detective back on the case, is because experience sees patterns that raw intelligence simply cannot access yet. Intelligence processes what is in front of it. Experience compares what is in front of it to everything that came before. When an older person looks at a situation and feels immediately uneasy, when they say something is off and cannot fully explain why, that is not instinct. That is thousands of hours of lived data running a comparison in the background. It is the brain recognizing a shape it has seen before, even when none of the surface details match. The young person in the room sees what is there. The older person sees what it looks like. And those are not the same thing. So let me speak directly to the younger people watching this, because I know some of you are here. The older person in the room who seems quiet, who seems slow, who looks like they are barely keeping up, they are not behind you. They have already been exactly where you are standing. They have already made the mistakes you are currently convinced you will not make. They have already survived the version of this situation that you think is completely unique to you. They are not watching you with envy. They are watching you with recognition. And sometimes, with a very quiet kind of mercy, because they remember what it felt like to not know yet. Do not mistake stillness for emptiness. Do not mistake silence for having nothing to say. The deepest water makes the least noise. And to everyone over 50 watching this right now, this last part is for you. And I need you to actually hear it. Stop apologizing for how long you have been here. Stop softening your experience to make rooms more comfortable. Stop letting the world's obsession with youth convince you that your best years are somewhere behind you. Your best years are the ones where you finally stopped performing and started living. And for most people, that does not happen until this half of life. You are not running out of time. You are running out of tolerance for anything that is not worth your time. That is not decline. That is discernment. And discernment is rarer and more powerful than almost anything else a person can bring into a room. Maybe that is exactly why every story eventually brings the retired detective back. Not because he is stronger. Not because he is faster. But because he has already walked through situations that everyone else in that room is seeing for the very first time. And life works the same way. The most dangerous person in any room is the one who has already survived everything that room could possibly throw at them. That is you. It has always been you. That is everything for today. If this one hit, and I have a feeling it did, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Doesn't matter if they are 28 or 68. Some truths don't have an age requirement. I'm Gloria. Diary after 50. See you in the next one.